Artificial intelligence was all the rage at the World Economic Forum in Davos this week. And coming off the hype of 2023, what can we now expect from AI in the new year? We're here with Fred Havemeyer, Macquarie's head of U.S. AI and software research, with what to expect in 2024. Fred, it is great to see you again. Maybe we'll start there, Fred. So obviously there was this just boom of interest in AI from investors last year. As we now roll into 2024 here, how do you expect this technology to evolve?
Absolutely. I think going into this year, 2024, from our perspective, is going to be the year where we see enterprises really turning on their demand and their spending on generative AI. I think what we saw is that in 2023, and even going into 2024, many businesses are extremely interested in generative AI. Many of them, many boards are asking their C-suites, what is our generative AI strategy? And I think in 2024, we're going to shift from a place where enterprises have been in pilot phases, testing the technology, dipping their toes into the water, and really beginning now to actually spend and invest and deploy this technology for line of business users. So exciting times.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of a disappointment, I think, in the community about Copilot adoption. What is it actually capable of? Is this a year that it kind of breaks out? And maybe you can just talk about the sales strategy of Microsoft overall.
Absolutely. I think that this year is when we're going to begin to see enterprises really adopting it from our perspective. But at the same time, I do want to just caution a little bit that we're not expecting it to necessarily just turn on overnight. When we look at it, we are beginning to, we're basing our estimates on Microsoft really beginning to materially monetize this going into its fiscal year 2026, which would be the calendar year ended in June 2026, where we estimate that Microsoft can generate about $9 billion of incremental revenue from Copilots, which amounts in our estimates to about 49 cents of incremental EPS based on our analysis of generative AI products and services, gross margins, and so forth. But what we think is clear here is that there's going to be a ramp up. We think the revenue can turn on relatively quickly, but we think it will take some time for enterprises to test and develop that certainty that they have some ROI out of these products.
And more near term on that name, Fred, so Microsoft reporting January 30th. Yes. What a run. I mean, it's up about 70% of the last 12 months. Near term, what do you expect to hear when they report earnings?
I think when we're considering Microsoft, what we're always looking to hear more about is the company's generative AI strategy, how they're beginning to sell those products, how they're really focusing on driving that enterprise adoption, and what indications they can offer us to say that this is not a flash in the pan trend, but really this is a long-term durable trend, which we believe that will begin to appear. I think when we looked at it last quarter, we found the company, we estimate the company was actually showing generative AI products and services in the Azure segment running at over $1 billion revenue run rate. So we think that this is already material, and we're looking to see more materiality.
We got time for one more here.
Yes.
I'll give you the floor. Anything interesting you might be expecting from AI this year?
I think this year there's a tremendous amount of interesting things. We can talk about it from the perspective of cyber warfare. We can talk about it from the perspective of business transformation. But what we think is we're within this context of enterprise purchasing, we think we'll begin to see more tailwinds emerge for businesses like a Microsoft and a ServiceNow. And I think when we look at a company like ServiceNow, there's a lot of opportunity from our perspective to really change how customer service and service desk tasks are run. And we think that they are another key candidate for generative AI, providing tailwinds.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Really appreciate your inputs here and stopping by for a couple of segments. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you very much for having me.